Let me hit you with some truth. Getting rich? It ain't rocket science. People act like it's some big secret, hidden in old books, or only known by billionaires in fancy towers. But listen up. Building wealth is brutally simple. The reason most folks never achieve it isn't because it's too difficult. It's because they can't stomach the harsh realities. They want riches to come easy, be smooth sailing, and feel good. They want to put in a little work, complain a lot, and have the world shower them with gold. But that's a pipe dream. Machiavelli, the guy who knew power and people inside and out, understood something most still ignore. Money flows to those who see the world as it actually is, not how they wish it was. So, let's tear down the BS. Forget the pretty lies society tells you. Like, just work hard and good things will happen. Forget those motivational posters screaming, dream big and you'll succeed. Those slogans are just there to keep you quiet, obedient, and stuck in place. Real wealth doesn't find dreamers who just sit around. It goes to those who are ready to play the game by its real rules. Here's the first harsh truth. Most people are broke because they're predictable. They do the same things every single day. They wake up, waste time on their phone, go to their job, complain, come home, watch TV, and do it all over again. That routine feels safe. It's comfortable. But comfort is an ambition killer. And comfort makes you easy to control. You think the system wants you rich? Nope. The system thrives on predictability. Predictable people can be taxed, managed, and manipulated. But Machiavelli would laugh at this. He knew the secret to power and wealth was seeing the world for what it is, not what you hope it to be. You hope your boss notices your hard work and gives you a raise. You hope life will be fair. You hope if you're nice enough, money will magically appear. But that's all fantasy. Here's reality. The person who owns the system gets rich. The person who plays inside the system stays poor. That's why getting rich is brutally simple. It's not about luck. It's not even about being a genius. It's about having the guts to ditch the rules that were never designed for you to win. The rules of the poor say work, save, and pray. The rules of the rich say own, control, and multiply. Let me give you a concrete example. Picture two people. One works a regular 9-to-5 job. Every month, they save a little bit of their paycheck, hoping one day they'll have enough. The other person uses that same energy to build a business, invest in their skills, and learn how to sell. 10 years later, the first person might have some savings and a tired body. The second person owns assets, has cash coming in, and lives a life of freedom. Same years, same hours, but completely different results. Why? Because one played by the rules of safety, and the other played by the rules of power. Now, let's talk about the psychology behind it. People are scared of risk. They fear failure more than they want success. This fear traps them in cages they've built themselves. They cling to the idea of stability, not realizing stability is the biggest illusion out there. Jobs disappear, economies collapse, inflation eats your savings. The so-called safe path is actually the riskiest one. But Machiavelli would tell you that the bold inherit power, not the timid. If you want to build wealth, you've got to flip your thinking. Instead of asking what's safe, ask what gives me control. Instead of worrying about failure, ask what if I never even try. That single shift can change your whole life. But let's go even deeper. Why do people stay broke, even when they know all this? The answer is simple. They mistake activity for progress. They work hard, sure, they hustle, yeah, but they're hustling in the wrong direction. They waste their energy on jobs that limit their growth, on habits that numb their ambition, on relationships that drain their focus. Then they wonder why they feel stuck. Getting rich is brutally simple because it's a straight line. Learn how money moves. Put yourself where money flows. Take more than you give until you have control. Protect what you've got. Multiply it. That's it. These steps aren't complicated. The hard part is having the courage and patience to actually do them. Think of it like this. Imagine money as a river. Most people stand on the bank, hoping a few drops splash on them. The rich? They build a pipe that redirects the river straight to their land. Same river, same water. But one group waits and begs while the other owns the flow. And this is where Machiavelli's wisdom hits the hardest. He said people are driven by two things, fear and desire. The rich know how to use both. They make others fear missing out and they make them desire what they're offering. That's how businesses, brands, and even influencers make fortunes. They're not selling products, they're selling desire. They're not pushing logic, they're pulling on emotions. So, when you think about wealth, don't just picture piles of money. Think of it as control over desire. The person who can make people want something he controls will always be rich. The woman who can become someone people can't ignore will always be powerful. But let me warn you, the hard part isn't just building wealth. It's what comes next. When you start to rise, people will be jealous. They'll talk behind your back. They'll say you're lucky, greedy, or even evil. That's the price of leaving the system. Machiavelli warned us a long time ago, if you want power, you have to be ready to face enemies. Building wealth is no different. To hold on to it, you have to expect resistance. So, you have to ask yourself, are you ready to stop chasing comfort and start chasing control? Are you willing to face the fear, the doubt, the criticism, and still keep moving forward? Because if you are, the path to wealth is wide open. It always has been. The poor live in a dream world. The rich live in the real world. The real world is harsh, unforgiving, but it's also brutally simple. Now, let's look at why people stay stuck, even when the truth is right in front of them. It's not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they don't have opportunities. It's because they've been trained to think small. From the time you were a kid, you were told to follow the rules. Don't question anything. Don't take risks. Stay in line. Go to school. Get good grades. Find a safe job. That's the script, repeated over and over, not because it makes you successful, but because it makes you easy to control. And controlled people never rise to the top. Think about it. The school system doesn't teach you how money works. It doesn't show you how to sell, how to invest, or how to build something of your own. Instead, it teaches you how to be an obedient worker. You get rewarded for sitting still, raising your hand, and memorizing facts. That's not preparing you for wealth. It's preparing you for a life of servitude. Machiavelli would smirk at this because he understood that systems are built to benefit those at the top. The rulers, the elites, the wealthy, they don't want competition. They want you to believe that your little paycheck and your weekends off are enough. They want you dreaming about a vacation once a year while they own the planes you fly on, the hotels you stay in, and the restaurants you eat at. So, when I say getting rich is brutally simple, I mean this. The hardest part isn't learning what to do. It's unlearning what you've been taught. You have to break the script that's been drilled into you since childhood. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a guy who wakes up every morning at 6 a.m. He puts on the same shirt, drives the same road, sits in the same cubicle, and answers the same emails. He does this for 40 years. Then one day, he retires with a small pension and a weak body. Do you think he ever had a chance to build real wealth? Of course not. He traded his life for scraps. All because he followed the script. Now imagine another guy, same starting point, same world, but instead of blindly following the script, he questions it. He studies how businesses work. He learns how to sell. He saves money not to hoard it but to invest it. He builds something small, maybe a side hustle, maybe an online store. Over time, that small thing grows. He reinvests, scales up, and suddenly he doesn't need the job anymore. 10 years go by, and now he has the kind of freedom the first guy never even dreamed of. That's the difference. Not intelligence, not luck, just a willingness to break free from the script. But here's the catch. Most people won't. Why? Because breaking the script feels uncomfortable. And humans crave comfort. Comfort is warm, safe, familiar. But comfort is also a trap. Machiavelli said it best. People quickly forget danger when times are good. But danger never forgets them. The truth is, if you want wealth, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to take risks that make your stomach churn. You have to push through nights of doubt, mornings of fear, and days of uncertainty. That's the brutal part. But on the other side of that brutality is freedom. And here's something most people won't tell you. The rich aren't smarter than you. They just see the game differently. They see money as a tool, not a reward. They see risk as an opportunity, not a threat. They see people not as friends or coworkers but as allies, enemies, or customers. This shift in mindset is everything. For example, let's look at how the average person spends their money. They get a paycheck, and the first thing they do is pay bills, buy entertainment, and maybe save a little. Their money is gone before it has a chance to grow. The rich? They flip it. They invest first. They put money into things that make more money. Businesses, assets, people. Then, with what's left over, they handle bills and fun. Over time, this small change creates huge gaps. Let's say you have two friends, both earning the same $3 a month. Friend A spends $2,500 on rent, bills, food, and fun. He saves $500 a month in a bank account. After a year, he has $6 saved. But inflation eats away at it, and his money loses value. Friend B lives a little more frugally. He spends $2 and invests $1 in learning new skills or building a business. After a year, he might not have much saved, but his new skill can earn him $5, $10, even $20 a month. 10 years later, friend A is still broke but comfortable. Friend B is free, wealthy, and powerful. The brutal simplicity is this: where you put your money and time today determines whether you're free or trapped tomorrow. And here's the deeper psychology. People don't really want freedom. They say they do, but freedom requires responsibility. Most people want safety, not freedom. They want someone else to take care of them, the boss, the government, the system. But those who truly want wealth have to take full responsibility for their lives. No excuses, no waiting, no blaming, just action. This is where Machiavelli's wisdom shines. He wrote that people are fickle, cowardly, and greedy. They'll follow the strong, but they'll step on the weak. So, if you want wealth, you have to project strength. You have to appear as someone who controls their world, not as someone begging for scraps. Confidence attracts wealth. Desperation repels it. Now, let's talk tactics. If you're starting from scratch, where do you begin? The first step isn't money, it's skill. You have to develop a skill that creates value. Selling, writing, coding, designing, speaking, negotiating. These are your weapons in the wealth game. Without them, you're defenseless. With them, you're unstoppable. Once you have a skill, you use it to create leverage. Leverage means getting more out than you put in. A job has low leverage. You trade 1 hour for 1 paycheck. A business has high leverage. 1 product, 1 video, 1 idea can reach thousands, even millions. That's why the rich always look for leverage. They don't want to work harder, they want to work smarter. With results that multiply. The average person thinks, how can I make more per hour? The wealthy think, how can I create something that pays me forever? One way of thinking keeps you stuck in time, the other buys you freedom. But here's the brutal reminder. Leverage requires courage. To build a business, to invest, to scale up, you have to face failure. You have to risk looking stupid, risk losing money, risk being wrong. Most people can't handle that, so they stay safe but broke. The few who endure the pain end up free. So, let's tie it all together. Getting rich is simple because it's about playing a different game. A game where skills matter more than degrees. A game where control matters more than comfort. A game where courage matters more than fear. The rules aren't hidden, they're right in front of you. But only a few dare to play. So, here's the question. Will you? Because if you don't, you'll live the same old script: work, pay, complain, repeat. If you do, you'll break free and join the small circle of those who own, control, and multiply. That's the circle Machiavelli would approve of, the ones who accept reality, embrace risk, and claim power. Wealth isn't for everyone. It never has been. But for those who are willing to face the brutal truth, it's closer than they think. Now, let's go even deeper. By now, you understand that wealth doesn't come from luck, from working yourself to death, or from waiting for someone to notice you. It comes from control, from leverage, from refusing to follow the script that keeps most people trapped. But let's look at the real strategies. The battlefield tactics that separate the rich from everyone else. Because here's the thing. Money is war. Not a war with guns and bombs, but a war with ideas, influence, and attention. And just like in war, those who hesitate, those who fear, those who cling to safety, they get crushed. Machiavelli knew this. He said, "Fortune favors the bold, but only when the bold are prepared." And when it comes to money, preparation is everything. If you walk into the wealth game without knowing what you're doing, you get eaten alive. But if you enter with knowledge, tactics, and a willingness to fight, you win. So, what are the tactics? Let's break them down. Tactic 1. Own something. Don't just work for something. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade ownership for money. This is the fundamental difference. If you're just working, you're always limited, even if you work 16 hours a day. There are only so many hours in a year. Ownership, on the other hand, is limitless. When you own a business, a product, or even a small piece of stock, you're no longer limited by hours, you're only limited by scale. Think about Jeff Bezos. He didn't get rich working a 9-to-5 job. He got rich because he owned Amazon. Millions of people worked for him. Billions of customers bought from him. And his ownership multiplied his wealth beyond anything a salary ever could. You don't have to build Amazon, but you do have to own something, a business, a brand, a product, an asset. Tactic 2. Use people's desires against them. Most people make decisions based on emotions, not logic. They want to feel powerful, attractive, respected, admired. The rich understand this and use it. They sell dreams, not just products. They sell status, not just items. Look at luxury brands. A $5 shirt and a $500 shirt might be made in the same factory. But people pay more for the $500 shirt because it makes them feel important. That's tapping into desire. And when you control desire, you control wealth. Machiavelli said, men are driven by two forces, fear and desire. To get rich, you must master both. Make people fear missing out. Make them desire what only you can provide. That's how you flip the game. Tactic 3. Build systems, not jobs. A job pays you once. A system pays you forever. A system could be an online business, a sales funnel, a social media channel, a piece of real estate, or an automated process. Once it's built, it runs with little effort, and money keeps flowing. The poor never think in terms of systems, they only think in terms of tasks. But the rich build once and profit forever. Think about YouTubers. One video, made once, can earn them money for years. That's a system. Now compare that to the worker who has to clock in daily to earn the same paycheck. Brutally simple, right? Tactic 4. Protect and multiply. Making money is one thing. Keeping it is another. Multiplying it is the final test. The poor spend what they earn. The middle class saves what they earn. The rich invest what they earn. Every dollar is like a soldier. Poor people send their soldiers to the mall. Rich people send their soldiers to battlefields where they come back with more soldiers. This is why the rich get richer. They don't let money sit still. They make it work harder than they do. Real estate, stocks, businesses, intellectual property, they all serve the same purpose, multiplication. Tactic 5. Appear strong, even when you're not. Machiavelli wrote that appearances matter more than reality. When it comes to wealth, perception is power. If people see you as successful, they treat you differently. Opportunities open up, doors unlock. Think about influencers flashing cars and watches online. Many don't even own them, but their appearance of wealth attracts real wealth. People follow them, buy from them, invest in them. Machiavelli was right. People judge by their eyes, not their minds. If you want money, you have to master the art of appearance. Now, here's where most people fail. They hear these tactics, nod their heads, and then do nothing. They say, it's too hard, it's too risky, it's not for me. And in that moment, they hand the game over to someone else. But if you're still here listening, it means you're different. You feel that fire inside. You know there's more to life than just waiting for a paycheck. So, let's dive even deeper into the mindset you need to actually hold on to wealth once you start building it. Because here's the truth, making money is hard, but keeping it is even harder. Wealth changes you. It changes how people see you. It attracts envy, leeches, and predators. If you're not ready for that, you'll lose everything. Machiavelli warned rulers about this. He said, a prince must learn how not to be good, how to be ruthless when needed, how to protect himself against betrayal. The same applies to money. Wealth attracts fake friends who want a handout, family members who suddenly remember you, business partners who turn greedy. If you're naive, they'll drain you dry. That's why the rich are so careful. They guard their money like a fortress. They use contracts, lawyers, accountants, and different business structures to protect their wealth. They don't show weakness because weakness invites attack. If you want to stay rich, you have to think the same way. And here's another brutal truth. Wealth will test your self-control. The moment you get a taste of money, you'll be tempted to waste it. Flashy cars, parties, expensive toys. That's how the newly rich fall back into poverty. They confuse money with status instead of using money to build power. The truly wealthy don't spend for status, they spend for strategy. They buy assets, not liabilities. They buy freedom, not approval. That's the critical difference. So, what's the ultimate goal of all this? Why go through the risk? The discipline? The fight against envy and betrayal? The answer is simple: freedom. Wealth isn't about gold chains or mansions. Those are just side effects. Real wealth means nobody controls your time. No boss, no alarm clock, no begging for days off. It means you live on your own terms. Go where you want, do what you want, and answer to nobody. That's power. That's why Machiavelli's wisdom still rings true. Because power and wealth are really the same game. And the path to both is brutally simple. See the world as it actually is. Reject the standard script. Build skills. Take risks. Own assets. Protect them. Multiply them. Project strength. And never, ever go back to that comfortable rut. Most people will hear this and stay exactly the same. A few will hear it and completely transform their lives forever. The question is, which one are you? We've stripped away the illusions. We've exposed the standard script. We've broken down the winning strategies. Now, let's bring it all together. Because here's the crucial point. Just knowing isn't enough. You can read 1,000 books, listen to countless podcasts, and fill your head with knowledge. But if you never take action, you'll stay broke. This is the last and most brutal truth about getting rich. It demands action. Not talking, not dreaming, not planning forever, but pure action. Machiavelli understood this about power. He wrote that fortune is like a river. It can flood and destroy those who sit idly by. But it can be harnessed by those who prepare and act. Wealth works the same way. Opportunities come and go like floods. If you just sit there waiting, you'll be drowned. But if you take action, you can build dams, channels, and rivers that flow right into your own hands. So, what does taking action actually look like? Let's break it down into simple steps. Step 1. Choose one skill and master it. Don't spread yourself thin across a dozen things. Pick one skill that creates real value and commit to it. Sales, persuasion, writing, coding, trading, marketing, public speaking, any of these can be your weapon. But a weapon is useless if it's left dull. Sharpen it daily. Mastery creates confidence, and confidence attracts money. Step 2. Stop thinking like an employee. If you want wealth, you have to think like an owner. Employees ask, how much will I earn per hour? Owners ask, how much can I create that earns me money forever? This one shift in thinking is your doorway to wealth. Step 3. Build leverage. You can't get rich on your own. You need leverage, tools, systems, people, platforms. If you're a writer, use the internet to reach millions. If you're in sales, build a team that multiplies your efforts. If you're an investor, let your money compound while you sleep. Wealth isn't about working harder, it's about building systems that work without you. Step 4. Embrace the grind. This is the part most people skip. Getting rich will hurt. It will push you to your limits. It will test your patience, your courage, your self-control. People will make fun of you. Friends might distance themselves. Family might not understand your decisions. The world will fight against you because you're breaking free from its chains. This is the brutal price you have to pay. But on the other side is true freedom. Step 5. Protect your turf. The moment you start building wealth, guard it fiercely. Use ironclad contracts. Set clear boundaries. Cut off anyone who's trying to take advantage of you. Expect betrayal. Machiavelli warned rulers about conspiracies and envy. And those same forces are at work against the wealthy even today. Stay alert. Stay sharp. Build walls around your wealth so it serves you and your legacy. Now, let's talk about the psychology of the endgame. Because if you don't have the right mindset, wealth will slip right through your fingers. Here's what usually happens. A poor person suddenly becomes rich. All of a sudden, they have more money than they've ever seen before. But instead of investing it, they just spend it. Instead of building systems, they buy expensive toys. They try to look rich. Instead of staying rich, soon the money vanishes, and he's right back where he started, with absolutely nothing. The reason this happens is that he never truly grasped the stark, unvarnished truth. Wealth isn't just about having money, it's about having control. If you have control over your time, the choices you make, and your future, then you're genuinely wealthy. If you're dependent on a paycheck, no matter how big it is, you're essentially poor. Machiavelli wisely wrote that leaders shouldn't only think about the present day but also about the future and the generations that will come after them. That's what true wealth is all about. Building something that will endure. Money that provides for your children. Assets that will outlive you. And a name that carries significant weight long after you're gone. That is your legacy. But here's where things get really serious. Most people simply won't do this. After hearing this, most will just retreat back into their comfort zones. They'll mindlessly scroll through their phones, complain about how unfair life is, and continue the same unproductive cycle day after day. And that's precisely why true wealth is so rare. Not because it's complicated, but because most people lack the fortitude to endure the harsh realities of discipline. So, you need to ask yourself a crucial question. Which side are you going to choose? Will you be one of the predictable masses, comfortably sleepwalking through life until the system eventually devours you? Or will you be one of the rare few who face reality head-on? Who take risks? Who fight for what they want? Who build something lasting? And who ultimately win? Let me paint a picture for you of what's possible when you fully commit to this path. Imagine waking up each day knowing that you never have to work a job again. Imagine walking into any store and buying whatever you desire. Not because you're being irresponsible, but simply because you have the means to do so. Imagine traveling whenever you want, wherever you want, because your time is entirely your own. Imagine building something substantial that supports not only you but also your children and their children for generations to come. That is true freedom. That is genuine wealth. And the path to achieving it is brutally simple. Learn constantly. Build relentlessly. Own what you create. Protect it fiercely. Multiply your assets. And repeat the process. Machiavelli was absolutely correct when he observed that people are often blind, easily swayed by their emotions, and easily controlled. But if you rise above that, if you learn to control yourself, to master your fears, to embrace calculated risks, you can control not just your money, but your entire destiny. So, here's a powerful call to action for you. Don't wait any longer. Don't just scroll on by and forget about this. Don't promise yourself that you'll start tomorrow. Start right now. Pick a valuable skill to learn. Study the principles of money. Take a calculated risk. Start building something, even if it's small. Remember that every great empire started with a single brick. Every massive fortune started with a single step. Because the world doesn't reward the dreamer, it rewards the doer. And here's the closing thought that I want to be permanently etched into your mind. Getting rich isn't complicated at all. It's brutally simple. The real question is, are you truly willing to face the brutal part?